This is episode number 478. 6.5. It's alive.
It's
Almost.
alive! Kind of.
I'm Jason Tucker. I have a website. It's jasontucker.blog.
Who's that blog on by anyway? Hey, I'm Sari. That's Sari Media on all the things and I'm feeling spicy.
And y'all know who it is. It's your boy Jason Cosper back at it again on the world's most influential WordPress podcast.
Speaking of that spicy podcast, go over to all the places that you can find those podcasts and hang out in our Discord over at watercoolerslack.lol. Hi. How's it going, everybody?
Hi.
got a
I am
friend.
excited today. I'm always excited when we have longtime friend of the show, Courtney Robertson, on to tell us everything we need to know about everything.
What? I don't
Primarily
know all that.
primarily the versions of WordPress that we kind of care about, but we're also like, we know Courtney
care
really
because
cares
we
about
have
it.
to care. I was thinking about that. I've been thinking about that a lot. Why do I care? Getting all existential.
Because your customers are using it.
Yeah, that's why.
Sure.
That's it. That's it. That's right. And I'm not switching
official-
to Squarespace or Webflow or Wix. It's not happening.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, Courtney is our unofficial fourth chair. It's either
Yeah.
Courtney or our other pal Scott Kingsley Clark.
And you know, Scott and I are pretty good pals too.
I was going to say, are they the same person?
Swap. We could just
You never see him in the same place at the same time.
We would.
not true.
Yeah, I was going to say the triangle of water cooler is a valuable thing, but when we get our knowledgeable fourths in here, we take it to a higher level. And usually when I say higher level, I mean like we're talking about real things instead of existential crises and such. So,
No, not it.
Crises, whatever.
No.
Crises?
Crises.
Did we go from threat to crisis, or is it crisis to threat?
I was like, I think we went from threat to crisis. Anyway.
So this week I've been working on GoDaddy's mega post.
Wait. You need.
Oh my gosh, I saw that.
The mega post?
No, I have a post that I don't know if I shared it with you. So I had a big post about WordCamp Asia. I have another big post coming out in a couple of days on 6.5.
Okay, but who
Sorry,
are you?
I was looking at another
What
one.
are you doing here?
Oh, yeah, I wrote a lot about WordPress 6.5 in the last couple of days. My job is I work at GoDaddy as a developer advocate. I do a lot of contributing around the WordPress project to the training team, the meta team, lots of other places like that. And when I find myself needing some dopamine, I plead for puppy pictures from Say.
Yay, puppy pictures. He's outside right now. But I also get all my dopamine from my puppy. So.
No, that's good. Puppies are cute.
Anyway, Courtney knows what's up pretty much all over. And she is here to tell us what we have to care about in 6.5.
Wow,
Apparently
there's
a lot.
Yeah.
At least in one of these posts you sent,
There's a
you
lot.
posted in their private chat. I'm like, wow. You hold down I'm on a Windows computer. Hold down page down for like half an hour, and then it finally gets to the bottom.
It is. It's fine. I think I shared that one maybe with Say, and it's totally fine that you all have it a little early. I have a public preview link going, so a couple people could brief it for me. But this is the most epic of releases in my mind since blocks probably shipped, maybe since
because it's
block
not
themes.
an underrepresented because everything from 6.4 that was going to be cool got punted.
Yeah. So there's a lot to go to dig into in this, and
dig in. I'll keep digging too.
All right, so what we have in the way of what users would want to see or know about, that would be like your customers maybe, and maybe things you want to block from your customers. So we have the font library finally making its way in. The font library
just said the thought library.
No,
I was like, That seems
Fonts.
reasonable and it's not surprising, but also what?
Yeah, fonts.
Not thought.
Do you want me to show any of this? You all
Do you
tell
want
me.
to? Go for
Okay.
it. That'd be great. Yeah, how about it?
Here's the deal. We are primarily a podcast and a
Yeah.
visual.
That's all right.
A visual
I will say the
presentation
words because I like thinking about my friends that lack vision, that are tuned in, sometimes even on YouTube as well.
There's
So,
some people just walk around with us in their heads.
I mean, why not? That is an option.
It's me with no headphones on. It's
I've been
awesome.
asked
Yeah.
to go longer so that people work out more.
Oh, you know what? I might have to not share. Let's see.
All right.
It wants to
Let's
do
not
like
worry about
system
sharing. Let's
settings.
just talk about
It's a mess. Yeah. So from the wording of it, what you do if you want to get these fonts, you have to be using a block theme.
Great. And then
So if you're using a block theme, and when you go into appearance under the option manage your fonts as one of the things on the WordPress admin dashboard, the left column, it's going to show up there. The other thing you could do is dig all the way into the site editor and then go to styles, formerly known as global styles. Go to styles,
not Harry Styles,
and typography. And in that area, you could select your fonts. So you're going into appearance, editor, get into the main part of the editor. And then on the right-hand side, looks like a moon, sort of like a half moon. Select that. That's the styles. And underneath that, you can find typography. Typography will allow you to pull in Google Fonts. Google Fonts are what so much of the web seems to use these days because it's a huge font library. You could Google Fonts and find this massive font library. And there are lots and lots of them there. But it was problematic to have them there for a few reasons. One, in Europe, GDPR. It's Google measuring where the things have been embedded, and most of Europe says, nope, we don't want that. The other reason it was problematic is that it's more performant on your website speeds if the fonts are loaded locally. However, there are some pros and cons to having a font library where people could just go uploading fonts. What if they take them for places that are not openly available for everyone to go get and upload without any legal issues?
But the font came with my Mac. I can use Avenir. It's no big deal. I know that Steve Jobs had a deal with this guy and they got it all set up and everything, but I can use it on my website, can't I?
If I could tell you the number of designs I have received from clients using Avenir, and I have to explain to them that they have to pay to use it, and
it's very expensive.
Conversations, it's very expensive.
On a Windows computer.
I have a client who actually paid for it, but let me tell you, explaining to people that they have to pay to use a font on their website is like trying to explain to them particle physics.
I know.
It does not compute.
But it's okay. We'll just put a browse button that you can upload it. No big deal.
Yeah. Or they're just why don't you just do it anyway? And I'm like, here, sign this contract.
Yep. Exactly.
Sign this liability release where I say, not my fault, and I told you so.
Yes. So there's that. One of the things I haven't tested yet that I would alert plugin devs to, if for some reason you are a plugin that is bundling a font
if you are a plugin. If for some reason you're a plugin, if
you're bundling a font into a plugin, I don't know if it will automatically detect it. There have been a few other plugins that I have in the older times that would make it easier to bring Google Fonts to local. They did not detect that I had installed some new fonts through the font library. So take it for what it's worth. There's probably some edge cases of things to test with it yet. And some of the contention around getting it in. We've been trying to slip this one in since 6.1. We're now at 6.5. It's still coming down to the wire if it's truly there or not. Even this week, there was discussions. Josepha made a post that sort of explained in core that we had to make some hard choices about what things made it and dropped for dev resourcing, basically, in this release. And Font Library was about to get booted out because of file server permissions. So they did a lot of asking of hosts to test if there were any issues, because where the fonts are being stored once uploaded is to your WP contents folder in a fonts directory within that. And they wanted to ensure that that wasn't going to create any kind of security issues. So around like file permissions, what can be accessed, what can be written to that directory, etc. Normally we see things like photos there, but adding fonts and other things, it's not touching the media library. Don't worry about that. It's just where the folder is storing the file permissions. A couple layers up from that were a bit of a concern. So they've done some good amount of testing around that. But in order to get that one through, the trade-off that we're losing is that we were going to be having synced pattern overrides shipping. So we've been on this march of patterns for a while. And what's going on in patterns is that we were going to be able to have an ability to override synced patterns, but that had to drop in order to make way for the fonts. So the fonts are shipping with a caveat that we might explore later if we're going to continue storing the fonts where we're putting them.
That is so much information. I processed about like half of it.
Yeah.
Can you give me the TLDR, or actually in this case, the TLDL? Too long to listen.
Fonts are going in.
Too long, ADHD.
Yeah. Fonts are shipping. We're worried about the folder permissions. And the trade-off is that we're dropping synced pattern overrides for right now.
Synced pattern overrides. That's where I got.
Talk to me about that in 6.6.
No, but like, what is that?
I'm not worrying about it until 6.6 because right now it's not shipping. but let me tell you what is shipping with patterns.
Synced patterns is reusable blocks.
Yes.
Okay, I just was like, cool, got that. Yep. But now there's synced pattern overrides.
Where you want to change it one off for one time. Like you're just making a change one time.
Like when you delete an event on your Google Calendar, but you're like, just delete this event and not all of the events.
Something like that.
Yeah, okay. Great.
We'll dig in deeper next time. Patterns though. Fun. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Patterns next time will be patterns this time actually are also still kind of a big deal. When you go into manage your patterns, there's a couple ways of sorting them in the site editor these days. So the left-hand navigation, as soon as you load up editor, has changed a bit, not lots. And in that you'll find patterns in the list. And now you can sort the patterns like a list or like a table to view them. When you click on their kebab menu, those 3 dots in the lower right corner, it will let you duplicate the pattern and rename it upon duplicating it. So that's pretty handy. And that also applies to templates too.
This is all just block themes. Is everything in 6.5 is an upgrade based on block themes?
That's really what everything has been since we launched block themes, right?
Well,
right.
I mean, not necessarily. There's been plenty of under the hood stuff that's kind of like
a little bit of that, yes.
And there's like, functionality or accessibility or like fixing a whatever, but like it's all just block theme updates, which is great because then I don't have to worry about jack. Yes,
sort of.
What I'm worried about is when the admin
classic themes
over. Yeah, coming for classic themes. This is where I'm
coming for classic themes.
All right.
You can enable some of the block theme features. So there is now there is a little bit of a function that you can add in that will allow you to bring areas like if you make a group block and you want a border on it, but you're in a classic theme, you could add a border around a group block. So let's say you've got multiple paragraphs and you want to have an outline around them. You could do that now, or add the drop shadows to your buttons. More things got drop shadow.
Why is it that everything with block themes seems like it's coming from like 1999? Just you're like, you can put a border on your div.
You've got to figure out where the bare minimum is. Font. Yeah, you got to find your bare minimum. And make that a GUI interface. And so we don't need to start with like the latest fanciest stuff. We need to start with the most reliable stuff. People like borders.
People like borders.
Like shadows.
Oh God, that's a political statement, actually.
Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I make everything political.
I was always more of a Barnes and Noble guy myself, but hey, if you like borders, go off.
I mean,
really? Because borders had allowed for. Speaking as someone who worked at Barnes & Noble and got fired from Barnes & Noble, borders allowed you to have tattoos and some leeway with your dress code. So they were much more amenable to the creative crowd than the more straight-laced Barnes and Noble.
Second
it was
Charles
a joke,
is now my
say.
home.
Yeah, I know, but I made it funnier.
The used bookshop with all of the very quirky board games, comic books, etc., is now my home. Anyway, moving on from Borders. Other things that you could do now
Also
that
from
apply to
1999.
everybody. Also applying to classic and block themes is...
The 90s really are in. I didn't realize it was extending so far that it's like the 90s are in tech too.
Yep.
We could do duotone. Ooh, is there a new Blink font like capability? Can you styles?
What you want to also know is that the favicons, a late 90s thing. Favicons or site icons.
We have to figure this out right now. Favicon? Favicon.
I'm sorry. I'm out. Site icon. Go to settings, general. And you can get into the site icon feature, whether you use block or classic themes from that area. So you can still go about it in the customizer if you're using a classic theme. In block themes, you used to have to go all the way into the block theme, setting your site logo, which would appear within the content of the website, to be able to get to the site icon that was in the browser tab above. Now,
I'm so glad we replaced the
settings
customizer
general
without putting all of the things that were in the customizer back into the site. That seems like, wouldn't that be like the first list? It's like, okay, we've got the customizer and we're going to get rid of this. So here's all the stuff that's in the customizer. Let's make sure that stuff goes into the block theme editor first.
Yeah.
Does that?
We're working on it, I guess. Still, I'm ready for those post formats to get in. They did get punted from this release.
Favicons are really complicated.
Cosper, I have a suggestion of another dev that is also interested in post formats and some goodness with that. That's for After Cooler though, so we'll chat. Okay, so we have.
I just want to say one thing real quick. Post formats is in no way going to be put into WordPress because it is a key component of a proprietary software and platform that is, let's say, controlled by someone who controls what goes into WordPress. So I will say it right here, right now. I loved the 2013 theme and the way that it supported post formats 11 years ago, and I'm ready to see the modern block version of it. And I'm building it because I want to and I can. So we're talking about 1999 and 2003.
13.
No, 2013. Okay, that's a decade. That's it.
So other things coming in the release this time around. If you are inside the list view, this applies to post editor in classic themes too. If you go to the list view and you right click on pretty much almost any block, you're going to be able to rename the blocks, all of them. So it might say columns. You could go in and rename it to whatever you want. So when you show the list view, you look for the kebab menu, those 3 dots beside every item in the list view.
And kebab and hamburgers.
Yeah, hamburgers are the 3 lines. Kebab is
very
3 dots.
In theory, that I guess you could have vegetable kebabs and a vegan burger, but I was going to say it's very carnivore centric.
Yeah.
Hamburgers, kebabs.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
So there's only a couple places that you can't rename those kinds of things. I forgot to say, if you wanted to have some of those block theme features, don't forget to add the custom function that goes with that to enable it. Everything else that I saw that is coming in the way of things like fonts, it has a way to go turn it off. Post forthcoming to go turn those things off if you don't want your customers getting at those.
I'm using Publish Press, the Publish Press suite. I've used different components of it on different sites, but I'm actually using basically all of it on a new site for a new client. And I didn't know that they have a really cool block. I don't know what it does for the block theme component, but it allows you to take total control of your Gutenberg blocks. So if you're using the block editor on a post or a page, it allows you to turn all those off or give permissions based on roles, which is I don't know, super important. But for now, it's still something that I think is worth paying for, that you have an add-on for. You know, at some point, I'm sure that's coming. It's on someone's roadmap. But for now, Publish Press does a great job. They have a really good suite. Just FYI. I am not being paid to say that. I think more than ever these days, and with the block editor, and just using blocks in general, locking down different components is actually really important if you're building sites for clients, because there is, I mean, this is why I haven't gotten into the site using block themes for clients yet, because you can so easily swap over to a template that you have no idea that you're in a template, that you can like completely jack up everything in like 5 seconds. And I've had clients delete things out of templates before when it's WYSIWYG templates that they have, you know, the ability to see, even if it's like locked or whatever, they'll be like, oh, just unlock it, because client's gonna do what client's gonna do. So really, I think that's probably, honestly, I wish we had this first. It's like, let's introduce the controls to be able to like dictate like which roles get it. I mean, roles is a first of all, roles hasn't been touched. Roles and capabilities hasn't been touched in core in a really long time. So, but it is so it's a huge part of multi-user WordPress sites, and it is really kind of wild to me that we have not brought that native control functionality into the block editor. That doesn't, let alone block themes, because it seems like that already exists. Like the blocks are like a wild west of everything, and without any controls, you have to manually or, you know, programmatically or with a plugin go in there and piecemeal out what people are able to see. It's really hard to remove stuff from the block editor and also from the panel on the right, whatever, all the styles and all that. What do we call that now? The right hand?
It depends on what you're in. It could be styles. It could be your block settings.
No, I'm saying, what is that whole panel called? It's just the settings panel now? Does it have a name?
It depends on which thing you're in.
No, but you have tabs. So obviously the tabs, but that's a subset of the panel itself, right? You've got your page settings, and you've got your block settings, and you've got your styles within your block settings. So you've got all of these sub panels and sub windows, but I guess I would just call it the right sidebar at this point. Right? Like,
I will say, say. Go ahead.
I mean, no, I'm wondering. No
I'm going to stick to this. If you're in the appearance editor for a block theme, there is the style sidebar, there is the block settings sidebar, and then there is your entire site options sidebar, and they are different things that show up there on that right sidebar. And
so all in the same panel.
No, they're different right panels that pop in and out. So, do you want to hear about some other fun stuff coming for users?
No, I want to talk more about these panels. So open. I'm like spinning up a thing. I'm like,
okay, let's come back to that one.
That was a joke.
Okay, links. Something as simple as putting a link.
Very serious today, and I am very unserious today. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that.
Yeah,
it's like you take your job seriously or something, Courtney. I don't know.
I know. Well, this is all I've been thinking about.
This isn't actually my job.
Week. This is what I've been thinking about for the past week. Yes, links, they are easier to modify or change the behavior of. Used to be when you would add a link, whether you're in post editor or site appearance editor. In either of those cases, as soon as you put the link in, all of the block stuff about the link would vanish. Now it sticks around for a moment for you to, like, it doesn't just time out. You have to click off to go to something else.
I was like, it just is like...
Nope. If you want to be able to modify any of the behaviors, like open it to a new window or modify what the link itself is, right? But people will want to do those things.
Ooh, you know what would be cool is if you in core put onto external links. Like if something is going to open either an external link or a new window, if there was like a way to like automatically put on that little icon, that's got the little box with the arrow.
This is why I love the accessibility checker free plugin in the repo.
Does it indicate that, like, hey, you've got something that's opening in a new tab? You should.
I vaguely remember that. It definitely does in the pro version when you're looking at the front of your site and you've got target new. It will tell you to stop that. Coming for images, lots of good stuff in images. How many times has your client, customer, whatever that you're building a site for forgotten to put a featured image in, even though you tell them you need to have featured images? For a while, I had someone that was so dependent on having featured images so that their social previews would work, and they kept forgetting to do it, that I locked it so that they could not publish without a featured image.
That's something I'm using for checklists in PublishPress, because you can say what it is, and it's like, you cannot publish this without a featured image.
Yes.
Not only that, but
we got to work around.
It has to be a certain width.
In Core,
love that.
Yeah, in Core now, if your post doesn't have a featured image, WordPress will detect the first image on the post and officially show that information. So
where it's called, not automatically.
It's going to select that as the featured image. First image in the post will be featured.
Right,
image.
but if it's not displaying on your theme, it's not like it's going to display it. It'll do it for like shares or anytime a featured image is being used, but it's not going to like put a featured image on your site automatically.
I need to test that.
Okay, I would assume not, because that would be really weird. You have to call it. You have to call a featured image.
Yeah, if you save.
I mean, back. I don't know which version this one is in, but there was a default plugin theme that had that, where you could put I don't know if it was a checkbox or I don't even remember but it was like, use the first image as a featured image, but whatever theme it was would put the featured image at the top, and then have the first image would also still be there. And so now you have two featured images, so you weren't able to use it as a featured image like for sharing or for open graph purposes or whatever, unless because it also showed up on the page. So unless you figured that out. So hopefully that's worked around. I'm sure it is.
Other fun things coming to images in this release. The AVIF image format, that's so hard to pronounce, is now an option that you can upload. It does not convert it for you, but it compresses it more than WebP would have in the past. If you're ever unsure if you can use it, go to Can I Use, and browser support will be listed on the Can I Use website. So go into Can I Use.
I gotta confess here, folks. I didn't even realize there was a new freaking image format.
It's not new. It's been around for decades. People have been able to export it in Adobe for over a decade at least. So
what is it?
It's instead of JPEG, it's just compressed better. And so you can use that.
TIFFs now?
You could use that in your WordPress website as a more compressed image format, thus improving speeds. And
is it more compressed than WebP?
Yeah. Smaller.
Oh yeah.
Smaller file formats.
I need a little chart that's like PNG, JPEG, AVIF, WebWP, where it's like gives me a little like.
Actually, Adam Silverstein, thank you, Adam Silverstein, over at Google, has written that, and I gave the link to the field guide. Somewhere in the field guide, there's a link off to all the many dev notes. So there's a dev note about AVIF, and Adam has that chart that you're looking for already in it.
Yes. I love it when I ask for things that already exist.
Yes. Ta-da! Here you go, Say.
So one of the nice things specifically about AVIF is, yes, it does compress better than WebP.
Everyone is lisping.
No, AVIF is a word.
AVIF. Yeah, it sounds like they're
Bob and get an AVIF of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rent my car from AVIF.
Yes. No, so it is based on from the H.265 like video compression format. It is an open standard.
Video. I was like, I thought it was video. Like I was so confused just now.
It is an open standard, and it is not owned by, created by, I think they may have had a little bit of a hand in it as part of like an open consortium. But unlike WebP, it's not like, oh, this all sprung out of Google. So the people who had a
What's
problem.
What's wrong with just the damn compressed JPEG? You know? I want to name. I should have named this dog JPEG. That would have been really.
Still not.
They're too big.
Yeah. They're too big, and when you squish them down to be the size of AVIF files, you'll lose a lot of quality.
That's going to be this guy's nickname, AVIF.
AVIF, right. AVIF. I need an AVIF of Griffin sent to me after the show ends.
I'm just going to work exclusively in
Griffin would like a kebab, and I can have an AVIF
now,
of Griffin eating a kebab.
It's Harry Griffin.
Okay.
That's his name.
Yeah.
For all those of you who are listening and not watching, I have a puppy in my arms.
Yep. Very, very puppy in that nibbling and pawing at everything phase. More fun coming for images. If you're posting a gallery block and you've ever wished that everything would shuffle on the page every time someone hits refresh, you can now say, please use random order on galleries. So that's a lot of the user-facing stuff. Now, the dev-facing stuff. Oh my goodness.
Don't get too devy or we'll have to dev branch ourselves.
I know. We probably do need a dev branch to dig into some of these in more depth. First one out of the gate is going to be that there are now more there is the ability to have block hooks. So you could say, I want to always call this special something in before this subheading or before this paragraph. So block hooks are a thing.
Love hooks. Hooks are like everything.
Mm-hmm.
They really
do you remember actually say I know that you do a lot with custom taxonomy type of things for some of your websites. You can now inside the post editor you go to all of the post editor screen. In the top right of all of them there is the kebab menu for everything. In that kebab menu you go down to preferences inside of general. At the bottom of that, and I'm doing this all from memory. I am not looking at a screen.
Okay, I'm doing it in the air.
Yep. And so at the bottom of that, under the advanced options, you can turn on the custom meta area, the custom fields view. And so you can see your custom fields inside of the post editor. You can make your custom fields right there. And then with the new dev goodness.
Please tell me you can turn that off too.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Remember
it took some digging to get to it. And I also stumbled through the beginner's error of thinking that I could find it in site editor. Nope.
Stupid.
Nope.
Why would you think
But
that?
here we go. The next
wait. Do you remember when custom fields were at the bottom of every post?
Yes, I do.
I don't know when that left, but I think about that every so often.
Yep. So, yes. So it looks about the same. And what I've seen is that that all of the folks working on Gutenberg are like, we need to freshen up the appearance of this because we're just calling back this old looking meta data here. So
I'm making her spicy. I love it.
This is
an influencer.
This is what. This is exactly what I've seen inside
and
of
the end. She's like swearing. Like what? Sorry, I'm breaking you down, Courtney.
So you could get into the meta area and see all of the meta fields you've written. And now we have this new feature called block bindings. Kind of relates to the block hooks. Block bindings, you can again say, I want to display the custom meta in relation to where I have it inside of this post. You could also go to a single post template and say, I want every time that this template is used to call and show the custom meta of that individual item. So if you wanted to get into some of that, it is not
custom taxonomy now is basically basically what you're saying.
So it's cool. It still takes some code. In order to do it, you have to get into instead of visual editor, you have to go into code editor mode and drop some code into that. And I want to say that Gutenberg Times has a fantastic
code editor mode. When did that happen?
I think when the post editor shipped with blocks.
Not what?
Go to the kebab menu in the post editor. Say
Tucker's dying over here.
Say I'm pretty sure that the code editor mode has been there as soon as blocks came out, just the same as we used to have in classic editor mode. the visual and then the code mode. It's been there.
Like visual and text, not like you're
yes.
looking at HTML and block code, not like your PHP code.
Right. Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
I knew that.
And also you can use the command palette now to get there. And using that command palette, either command or control K, you could type in code editor and it will switch over. And then you drop in the code that you need to put where it goes inside of the post.
Okay, but see,
or the
we
template.
say code, and that lets people think that they can put all sorts of things in there.
They can. It's just going to error if they try.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Now we're going to be going back to the days of people are like adding PHP into their content. Like
no. So to be clear, it's not a GUI interface yet, and this is why you have to use the code mode. But it's calling in basically. It looks like the block markup with a little bit of what looks to be like. I don't want to say full on JavaScript. It's kind of more like what you see in theme JSON file.
So it's like inline styling, is what you're telling me.
No, like it calls data in. It's not CSS. We're not mixing JavaScript and CSS.
I just mean you're like coding per block, like coding on a per block basis.
Yeah.
For the template.
No.
We're gonna get into this one in Dev Branch because I'm like gonna have to go investigate this.
Yeah, I want to say the Gutenberg Times tutorial that is on this one is actually really good. Let me grab this one. Is probably the one that I found easier than the one. Here's the link. If folks want to drop that into the public chat, that's totally fine. But there's a really good tutorial Birgit Polyhack put together that is almost a low or no code approach to doing this. It's as close to no code as you can be until we get more GUI. So there's that. Other stuff.
I love a code editor. I just don't consider the text tab to be a code editor.
Even though it says
we used to be able to go under like the settings and you could go to like your code editor and then you would see all of your templates in your crazy madness spot. Like that's what I thought you were talking about, but that's not what you're talking about.
Nope.
So let's just be clear here for posterity. Say was aware of a text editor that shows you the freaking block markup. I did not. I am still correct in that there is not a actual code editor where you can put other types of code.
You could cowboy code if you still wanted to by going over to Appearance and trying to get into editor that way. It works on classic themes.
Well, I know, but
classic themes, it's certainly still there.
I love that our worst ideas, our worst components. It's like that's there. Let's not. Why would
we're gonna cowboy code? It's a good time.
So cowboy coding, that is like undersea diving or something.
Yeah.
Like without a mask. It's like free dive coding because like there's no going back. That's not like cowboy coding and you can like hit undo in your Dreamweaver or something.
For plugins, I was actually reading up on the email newsletter that goes out to plugin devs. I helped get some eyes on that one earlier this week. There's a newsletter that should be sent out, if not today, then early next week, that Scott Riley is working on. We got a couple of dependency bumps. So PHP Code Sniffer is now up to 3.8.1. PHP Mailer is up to 6.9.1. So if your plugin sends like a form plugin or something and it sends an email, there's a little bump in that. Make sure you test that.
I just want to point out real quick, pause. Really want to point out that PHP Code Sniffer is being updated because that is now an independent project that has funding from multiple corporations, including $5,000 a month from Automatic.
GoDaddy is kicking in $1,000 a month as well, which is fantastic. It's worth it. There have been more contributors coming onto that. It is now moved into a repo that is not owned by any particular company. It is owned more by the PHP community. Not part of the PHP Foundation, just within the PHP
also
community.
Costing $11,000 a month.
But if you understand why and the amount of people,
there was no value judgment in that.
Node.js also got a bump up to the lowest version of Node that is supported is Node 18. Other things plugin devs will want to know about, not related to release, but kind of. In that newsletter, your README files are chopped off after 1,500 words. There was some plugin that had 26,000 words in their README
words,
file.
Not characters?
Words. That would be like their entire changelog history for 20 years, I think. So we're we're crunching that down to a smaller amount. Also, there is.
So wait. So I can no longer I can no longer insert the text of Infinite Jest into my release notes.
No, not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's the whole copyright thing. It would be rejected outright, but still.
Yeah. Plugin devs, you also, aside from the length of your readmes, will want to take note that there is a new document out for you to make your blueprints so that when you go to the plugin repo, you can hit the live demo and they could spin up a site in the browser, testing out what your plugin does. There is a document that is available for that will also come in your newsletter, as well as friend of the show, also Andy Fragan. It's been a while since I think he's been around with the show and in the chat room.
He's busy operating on people.
I know how that goes. Hey, Andy, if you're watching. Andy helped get this through. We now have plugin dependencies in WordPress. Yay! So if you have a plugin, like Andy has one that I helped work on when I was at the events calendar ages ago, called the events calendar category colors. So if you're using the events calendar, you can get a
that on a site.
Yep. What happens if you try to activate that and the events calendar isn't active? Well, now it's going to not activate, or it will deactivate if that other plugin is deactivated.
There is a lot of plugin dependency stuff happening in plugins, regardless of like the official stuff. But the events calendar specifically has been all over. Like if your various versions don't match, it shuts everything off. It's like you no longer can use Pro because your other thing is not whatever. Like literally turns off your plugins for you.
So bringing it back to core or other beyond that particular plugin, I would also say I've heard numerous times of people forgetting that before they could use the mailer add-on or memberships add-on to Woo, that they need to activate Woo. So that's another prime example of those things. The plugin directory is also going to tell you when you go searching that there'll be like a little blue box that says this plugin depends on something else. So you'll see it both in your plugin upload activation screen inside your site, as well as over in the plugin repo. Hey, there are dependencies you should be aware. The trade-off of getting the fonts library in relates to another area Andy's been working on, which was the rollback feature. So the rollback feature is exactly close to it's what you were discussing, say, about having dependencies that this thing needs this. So for the events calendar Pro needs the events calendar at a certain version, and if they're out of order, it's
shuts it all
jam.
Down. Yeah.
So what this will do, the rollback feature is going to basically say if something breaks when we try to go up, well, we'll just roll back to the known safest last state. That feature
makes sense to me.
Into 6.6. It was almost going to happen this time. Andy was working on it. I would suggest that when that does ship, you get Andy on for a dev branch if he is not busy in the trauma operating room.
The trauma ward.
Because WordPress is his hobby and his stress relief.
There's a lot of analogies there.
Yeah. So we have a couple of other big API types of things, but the one
what
I want to focus on.
No, API. Let's dive.
No. There's a bunch of API things, like multiple API issues. I'm going to focus on the interactivity API, not the upgrades to like HTML API or some of the other things. This can be a bit of a teaser. If you could open up and maybe share on the screen the WPmovies.dev site, this demonstrates the interactivity API pretty well. So there's now a lot of ways you can make things happen on your site. If someone's able to screen share for me that link, because I cannot. WPmovies.dev. It was in one of the dev notes about the interactivity API when it was first pitched. I'll wait a minute.
I can't share screen because I don't have that.
It's my browser wants to like reload everything. We're not doing that right now. Okay, so this was a project that was put together to demonstrate what the API can do. If you want to click on one of the hearts. Let's see what happens if we hit a heart. Oh, we clicked on the entire image. That's fine. So there's a movie. If we click the heart will kind of stay around, and you can see later maybe some of your favorites. It's probably down below. It will show you like everything you hearted, or up there. Yeah, in the top right. Sorry, the water cooler logo's hiding the count.
I actually am using a plugin that does the similar thing called Favorites, which has not been updated. But for like
Go ahead, click
marking
on
off
a
your
box.
favorites.
Yep.
There
There
it
you
is at
go.
the top.
And now if you want to click on play trailer, let's see if we can do a play trailer.
Tumblr.
And now
references.
back out of the screen that we're in without hitting close on that video. Like go click on the logo.
Which logo?
Did it close the video? There was a way of seeing the video kind of show on the. There it is. Yeah.
That's
so like
Tumblr
we're moving
joke.
around in the site, and go ahead, close the audio. I think they've got the effect there.
Walt Disney Studios presents a Studio Ghibli
Watercooler
film.
taken down.
Don't take a shortcut. You always
Close
let us know.
YouTube.
Oh wait, we
Yeah,
can
there
just watch that video.
So you get the idea, though, that with the interactivity API, you can now, based on what the user does on the screen, you can now have a lot more things happen throughout your website. You can make it so that, oh, if they hit the hearts, then it tallies it up. If they play the preview and then they go navigating somewhere else, that the little preview keeps going while it does this. So this is
this list of movies made by a dude.
This was made by whoever was primarily working on the interactivity API as a proof of concept. This whole project. So all the movies that are in here are real movies, and at the bottom in the footer they give you.
No, they're not all real movies, Courtney.
Some of hit close, and then
what happens if you go to the
bottom?
Goncharov movie?
So say, do you see that TMDB at the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
That's where they got all the data for this.
Go back to that. Go back to the WP movies one real quick. That first one. Just sorry guys. We just have to test this out. Click that first one there. The Goncharov. Very important. Yeah, see, there's no film there. Go ahead and scroll down.
It may not be in YouTube. They don't have it. They might not have
it doesn't exist. It's a Tumblr meme. What? What is that?
There you go. So maybe
how does that exist?
So
okay.
Yep. Okay.
I like how it says a film by Mateo also. So that's
it's all right.
So
in any case, there's a whole lot of additional dev things that frankly I didn't have time to touch that are coming in this release.
Well, we have dev branch for that. You have time to learn everything and tell us that.
Yeah, but there's so much in this release that is dev oriented too. So there was still a good bit of features that apply for both classic and block theme users. But there's a lot under the hood of the block bindings API that was tied to the custom meta and showing things. The HTML API got some work. And worth noting for a friend of the show, Scott Clark, we're going to reemphasize custom fields, like those meta boxes underneath a post, are not the same thing as Core Fields API. And we want to make sure that we do not say those things the same way. Yeah, they do different things that you could ask Scott all about. So there's a lot going on in this release, and I didn't even touch on even all of what was there for users.
But fonts
for block themes.
I mean, we'll make sure Anne McCarthy the past few releases has done, and like I think since dating back to like what 6.2 6.1 has been doing these like source of truth posts on her personal site that have basically everything that's in the release, all the stuff that ended up getting punted. Like Courtney and I were talking a little bit before the show. This is something that Anne has done over months.
Mm-hmm. I do not understand how that is not, and I've said this in multiple official places, like how that is not, how the source of truth for a WordPress release is not part of the official WordPress.org. Just a post on .org is like unbelievably mind-blowing to me. That's all. Yeah. I love that they do it. I think it's great. I think it's important. But something called the source of truth existing external to the project makes no sense to me. 0 cents.
Forget it. It's open source.
What does that mean?
It's a Chinatown reference.
Oh, okay. I was like, it's just chaos is what you mean. You can just whatever, I do what I want. Like that.
All of this talk about kebabs and Gooey is making me think of Soom, the little garlic sauce you can get at Zanku Chicken here in Los Angeles.
We just got a Zanku chicken.
Yeah. Oh, Zanku is so good. And that is really only for the people in like Los Angeles.
Sorry.
It's very local.
It's chicken with garlic sauce. It's like Lebanese, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing.
How to make Cosper drool in one word. Zanku.
I mean, it's so wonderful that that I mean they Beck immortalized it in a song. Like, come on.
I just want to say before we close out.
Yes. Sorry, okay. No. Because I was going to close out and say we should get. Yeah, I want to go get lunch.
Yeah, I said where you were going, so I just wanted to say that my irreverence, while greatly heightened over the past year or month or whatever, is in no way to disparage or reflect upon the extensive amount of research and work and effort that you put in, Courtney, to providing this information. It is only because well, we all know all the reasons, and if you don't, come to the Discord. But the work that you do is valuable, and the fact that your What's New in 6.5 and all your posts also exist externally to the project is another just mind-blowing thing. But your work, I mean, Anne's work with the Source of Truth is really, really important. Your work that you do regularly with the testing and the release candidates, and then your massive, here's everything you need to know, like that stuff makes it possible for us devs or whoever is working with WordPress to actually stay on top of stuff. And again, the fact that it's not part of the project is its own problem, but the fact that you're doing it is something we should all be grateful for. So my non-seriousness should not be construed as an indicative of how important your work is, because it is very important, and I appreciate it, and I know so many people appreciate it, and I appreciate that GoDaddy funds you to do that work and contributes back you, because you are an invaluable resource to our entire community, whether you're contributing or you're just using WordPress. You bring a lot of value in your work. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Say, very much.
You're welcome. And I also love to be unserious, and I've been really spicy lately because damn, I'm pissed off a lot of times these days.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. It's possible to hold those multiple things at once.
Yep.
Think that those things are really important and valuable, and also seek to make fun of them at every step. Because I'm a Gemini or whatever. Who knows? Anyway,
classic Gemini.
That's all. I'm hungry for chicken and kebabs now, so
it's pizza time in my house.
I was gonna say get a falafel. Get a falafel if you don't do the meat. Also very good with some garlic sauce.
We need a triple menu. We need to call it falafel.
Tucker's hitting us with the Oscars music. Yeah, he's playing us off.
Oh man,
keyboard cat.
Fine. Cue the outro. Mwah. See you in the Discord, baby. Oh, subscribe to us on all the things and places that you listen to podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook. Is that a thing? I just stream this live on LinkedIn, but mostly